Well, good afternoon and welcome to our midweek moment. I'm excited to be here with you, friends and family of Grace Gate. We have a little bit of a unique setting today. We've been mostly kind of following up with different things we've been talking about on Sundays or different things going on within our community. And today we're going to be talking about something a little bit different. Today we're going to be talking about one of the families in our church who had a pretty significant fire on their farm a few days ago. And so, our desire for church community, we believe what the Bible represents is the church is to function together as a family. So when you hurt, we hurt. When you feel joy, we feel joy. And so that's kind of the exchange that we're hoping for. And that's more difficult in a time like this because we're not having as much time and interaction with each other. So where we might hear about something like a fire in one of our church community members' lives, we might hear about that easily if we were interacting and engaging each other more frequently. It's harder to hear about now. So this is a significant need, and throughout the entire state of this COVID-19 craziness, we've had people reaching out saying, how can we help? And we've been reaching out to you saying, how can we help? And so here we have in our midst somebody who's been deeply involved with our church in many different aspects. The farm is the property of Kim and Joy Fidance, who've been a part of our church for a million years. And there are other family members. We've got Danny and Jenna Sheridan, and we've got Josh and Cassie Dickey, who are also very much part of this farm. And many of you have been to this farm for Farming Tuesdays, where we took kids out there and they taught us how to milk goats and talked to us about chickens and all those things. And many of you have received far more from this farm than you may realize. They have donated anonymously eggs, and they've donated anonymously meat, and they have donated anonymously money in many, many different settings and many, many different times where we knew about a need and they wanted to be a part of that need. And so now this is the opportunity for us to be a part of a need in their life. I can't think of a time really that they've needed much from us except for to be family and support and a part of worship and prayer and community. But this is an opportunity for us. So I'm going to invite Jenna Sheridan on here with me. And I'm also going to invite Josh Dickey on here, but he is actually out on the farm now. He's with Kim and Joy, and we're going to talk a little bit about what happened, how we got there, and what we can do as a community to help. So I see Jenna popping on here. Thanks for joining us, Jenna. And there's
Hi.
Josh popping on, kind of showing us a little bit of the carnage of what happened in this fire. Jenna, I'm going to come back to you here in a couple of minutes just to kind of talk about what does the work and everything look like. But why don't you start by just talking about what does this mean for you? I mean, you don't live here, but your kids spend a significant amount of time there. Your family spend a significant amount of time there. And for many of our families that have come and connected with this family and with this farm, you will represent what a lot of us are feeling when we come and see this. But you've been there and you've seen it, right?
I haven't been there yet because kids can't safely go there, and I have a lot of kids. So I'm hoping to go up tomorrow to help with a work day and do some cleanup. I've only seen the pictures and the videos like you guys have. Found out about it from friends and neighbors that called me to see if people were okay as they were there fighting the fires. So basically what you're looking at, what down there, what Josh is showing you, is off to the left is the silo. Behind that used to be a large shop. Yeah, Josh is pointing to the silo. Where there's nothing, that is where the shop used to be. Our shop was like, it would be the equivalent of a garage. So it would house all of our tools, all of the tractor, the farm equipment. They were able to get the tractor out. But that where there's no more space is now just empty rubble. And our kids, I mean, we love the community and we love having everyone out. And so not being able to have kids there that have grown up there, you know, and trying to explain that to my boys, or we know lots of people would love to come help and we have to say we can't have kids, it's not safe, where we've always said bring everyone out, come on, we'll, you know, we welcome you all. That's been really hard.
Yeah. Josh, can you walk us through kind of where the fire started and kind of show how it kind of had its domino effect through everything out there?
Sure. So what happened was my dad was burning in our driveway, which we've done every year since we've lived here. And that's the hardest. I mean, one of the hard parts about this was it's not something that we were doing that was any different than normal, right? We were just doing farm stuff. So anyways, he was burning right here in the driveway. He stopped burning and waited about half hour like he always does to make sure that the fire was out and there was no smoldering, no smoke, no nothing like that. And then he went inside, and then my mom came in about a half an hour later and said she didn't see anything as she walked up, and she likes to double check on Kim. So she double checked and made sure that everything was okay, nothing there. And then what ended up happening was, according to the fire chief, what he thinks happened was the fire came from the rocks underground, and where there's a fuel tank right here, and I'd get closer, but I can't because of our internet connection. But there's a fuel tank right here, and there was a shed around that. That fuel tank was actually in the air. And so what happened was the fire went underground, popped up in the shed, but it didn't happen until about 2 hours after both of them had come in. They had a neighbor come over and tell them, hey, some of your sheds are on fire. So that was about 2 hours after 3 hours after the fire had actually been, the burning was actually done. So it blew up in this shed here, started, and then carried over behind the silo. There was a tack room, and that tack room was attached to the shop. So the fire burned from here over into the tack room and then spread across the shop. And then from there, it actually leapfrogged over to these two buildings here, which it's a wood shed behind that tree there. And then in front was all where we kept all the beehives and bee equipment when they weren't being used. And we don't have any bees on the farm right now. So all the hives and wax and everything were in there. And so when it caught this, it just went up like crazy, like a bee wax candle. So that's kind of how it happened, and the spread. And then luckily the little house here, all the tar melted out of all the front shingles. And so it's just dripped down the side, and we only lost one window out of that side. But praise the Lord, nobody was hurt, and that nothing in the little house didn't go up. So
yeah. And I'm grateful, and I know you guys are as well. When I talked to Joy, one of the things that she mentioned is how grateful she was that no animals were hurt. I mean, you guys have so many different variations of animals out there, and they're often congregated pretty close to there. So yep. I'm surprised you guys didn't lose chickens and everything else in the process. So I'm really grateful for that.
So actually, Cody, so the shop is here, and about 35 feet away, you can still see the barn is standing right here. And that's where like all the chickens and our rabbits are kept. And then everything else congregates just around, and there's a little courtyard in there. And so Mom was able to get the rabbits and the goslings and ducklings and the chickens out. And some neighbors came over and took them from us, but we pushed they were able to get our riding lawnmower out, and they pushed it right in front of that building right there. And it's, like I said, about 30 feet away, and that riding lawnmower melted. That's how hot the fire was. Just so intense. And we're surprised that building didn't also catch on fire. There's actually no reason it shouldn't have.
Yeah, the carnage is, and one of the things that you mentioned and that Joy mentioned as well when I was talking to her is most of those structures we can see right there, apart from the yellow house and the silo, but most of those structures are just gutted. Like they have to come completely down. All those trees have to come down. And the shop was literally just burnt to the ground. The shop that housed most of the equipment for the farm was just burnt completely to the ground.
Yep.
It's really, really crazy. Josh, our Kim and Joy, I know that I was talking to her right before this, and she was going to try to come on, but they had some sort of delivery show up right about the time we were doing this that was early. Are they available to talk at all?
So my mom is available to talk. She just came out. So
Okay.
Kim's off. He's working over with Danny. So my mom is ready to talk. And she even cleaned up. She doesn't have soot covering her anymore. So we'll actually go inside so we're not in the rain, and then get her set up. So if you want to talk to Jenna real quick while we do that.
Okay. Well, Jenna, one of the things that we want to talk about is how do we help as a church? How do we help? And you mentioned cleanup day tomorrow for sure, and maybe the next day as well. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
So for definitely Friday and possibly on Saturday if it's needed, we are welcoming adults out to help clean up the rubble. We have to sort through all the tin, clean up all of the burned out stuff, and get it into dumpsters and trailers. So we're just saying, please come when you can, stay as long as you can. And we would appreciate any of your help. We need you to wear sturdy shoes, bring shovels, rakes, chainsaws, battery powered saws, anything that you think might be helpful, because we don't have any of that. And we'd love to have you come out and help us clean up.
Yeah, and at the end of this, I'm going to put a document in the comments, and in that you can see where you could buy gift cards, how you can make donations, and then also more information about the workday as well. Just in the basic conversation that I had with Joy and with Josh, there's a lot. I mean, one of the big statements, because I just know how this is, and I don't have the span of life to collect, but as you do different projects, you collect all the tools that you need for those things. And they lost all their tools for beekeeping, all their tools for farm maintenance. They lost all of their implements for their tractor. They lost they got the tractor out, but then they lost everything. And basically it sounds like what insurance is going to cover is insurance is just going to cover what you might find in a basic garage. So that's not going to help with any aspect of what was lost from farm implements or any of those things. And so that's really difficult. And then it's also not going to make the insurance is not going to help with any rebuilding of structures that were lost. And so one of the things that we're looking for is we have something at the church that we use often, but a lot of people don't know about until they need it. But we have a crisis relief fund, and it's the biggest way that we give money locally. We give to a lot of organizations that we believe in locally, but to giving to people directly, we give to we have a crisis relief fund. And so we're going to put that link also in the comments here. And if you want to give to help with the rebuilding or the restocking of all the tools that it takes to run a farm, I know that Joy mentioned that they lost thousands of dollars in bee equipment. In just that one shed was thousands of dollars of bee equipment, not counting what's really hard to number is what all those PTO things for the tractor and implements and tools and all that stuff as well. But if you're able to help in some way, we would love all the help we can with cleanup tomorrow for sure. And basically the information that I was told was come whenever you can, and they'll probably kick you out about 8. So just any help that you can provide, we can put an address or something up for people to go show up to help. And then also you can give to the Crisis Relief Fund, and we'll see how much money we can raise to help them with some rebuilding. And then also people have been asking about gift cards, but in the document that we're going to put in there is gift cards to Coastal or Wilco or Home Depot or Lowe's. Gift cards like that would be super helpful as well. And so what we're going to do is we're going to have a couple of totes set up in the lobby of the church. And if you would like to bring by tools, and maybe you have some, I know for me, with my background with horses and cows and everything, I've got some stuff that I don't use now that I can bring in. So we're going to set up a kind of a donation station in the lobby of the church, and you can come in and do that. You can also drop off gift cards or anything like that. And then you can give to the Crisis Relief Fund at gracegatecommunitychurch.org, and we'll make sure that money is directed towards Kim and Joy as well. And then I'd love if we get Joy back on here. I just was really so blessed by the conversation with Miss Joy. Hello, Miss Joy.
Hi, Pastor Cody.
I'm excited to see you and talk to you. I haven't got to see you in weeks, but I am sad that it's under these circumstances.
Yeah, So Mother's Day started out great and ended up not so great.
Yeah, Josh, we're struggling to hear her audio. Can you maybe put that earbud mic a little closer to her or something?
I'm going to flip the camera again.
Okay.
Now I got to hold it. Okay. So I said that Mother's Day started out great, but ended up not so great.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, how are you guys doing? I mean, you guys are remarkable people, but it's got to be hard just trying to process all that you got to process with this. I mean, there's not just the financial and the practical, but there's just also, I know because you guys had a bunch of heirlooms stored in one of those sheds as well.
Yeah, it's hard to, I don't know, the emotional part of it gets exhausting, I think, that it gets hard to maintain, just an even keel to just keep going and to, but it hits you when you pick up, like, or can't find my grandpa's tape measure that he gave me, that was his for years and years, and then after he passed away was left to me. There was a lifetime of Kim's dad's tools and Kim's tools and my grandpa's tools stuff that, and it's just stuff. I mean, nobody was hurt, no animals were hurt, and it can be replaced, but I mean, except they don't make them anymore, that of those kind of, some of those things. But yeah, it can get emotional at times, but mostly there's just a lot of busy stuff right now of actual cleaning stuff up, getting trees down because they're dangerous, or picking nails up so you don't step on them. And yeah.
Well, tell us about your experience. I mean, you told me a little bit just about what, Jesus has been to you in this process, and even just some of the insights you've had experiencing the other end of giving a little bit, because you guys have been very generous with people in need. And this is a relatively unique experience to be on the other side of that.
Yes, it's a very humbling, very humbling to be on the receiving end. It's a lot more fun to be on the giving end. But the peace of Jesus was just amazing. Um, when we got the knock on the door at 3:00 and said, "Did you know your building is on fire?" Um, it it wasn't a panic. There wasn't a panic. There was just like all of a sudden clarity of, okay, we have to do this, we have to do this. And I was able to get the tractor out before the shop caught on fire, because it actually started on a smaller building that was attached to the main shop. And then to turn off the electric before the power lines came down that ran to the shop, it was just a real peaceful, not panicky, just a clarity, and to get the animals out of the barn in case that went up next. And but God's grace and peace have just been amazing. So it's not like a crippling, devastating, emotional anything. There's God's peace that just comes over it, and it's going to be okay. It was just stuff. There was no people, there was no animals, and how it's going to work out, I don't know, but I do know that God is always faithful, and it will work out.
Yeah, that's amazing. I really appreciate you sharing that. Yeah. Well, Miss Joy, we are here for you. We're praying for you. We're hoping to rally the troops to, see what we can do as a community to come along and help. I mean, farm's a lot of work when it's upright and working the way you've set it up over the last few years. It's a great deal of work when you've got to start over with a lot of this stuff. So, anything else that we can do? I mean, I want to pray for you guys. I want to put the opportunities to help up here, but anything else you'd like to say or invite us to help you with?
Well, you've already mentioned the cleanup day tomorrow and possibly Saturday. The dumpster arrived actually right as this video was starting, so we've got that. So we should be ready to go. And then later, when it comes to the building, maybe, maybe people that know how to do that kind of stuff, because that's a skill Kim and I do not have. We have a lot of other skills, but building and getting something square and straight is not one of them. So maybe that would be a nice time that that we can call on somebody then too.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, I'm going to look over here and see if we've got anything really obvious in the comment field, see if there's any way that we can. It doesn't look like there's a lot of questions or anything coming in, so I think that we can kind of close this in prayer and then highlight the ways that we can help out, and then we'll join you in the rebuilding process.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, Father, we thank you for your grace and we thank you for your mercy. God, we thank you for the ways that you protected humans and you protected livestock and animals. God, we thank you for even the ways that people have come alongside Kim and Joy from around the world. I mean, I even heard about a mutual friend in Uganda who was reaching out. So God, we just thank you for your way of building a network around people to comfort them and to comfort us. I mean, we all end up in this point at some point, and to support us. And so God, we thank you for the way in which you have moved upon Kim and Joy to help and to serve and to give in the lives of others. And we thank you for the opportunity to do that in return. So God, we just pray that you would bless us in every way, bless every individual, bless every heart, bless every life that has anything to offer, anything to give. God, bless us to be a part of the rebuilding and the comfort and the encouragement of our friends and of our church family here. So God, we thank you for your protection and we thank you for your grace in the rebuilding. So God, come with your great grace and help us to do a great work here in Jesus' name. Amen. Well, as I said before, you can show up at the workday tomorrow. Basically 8 to 8, you got an open window of coming alongside to help. We'll put an address in the comment field, but you can share this. You can help other people see this. You might know other people who might want to be involved in this. And then also another way to help give to the rebuilding is you can go to gracegatecommunitychurch.org and there's an online giving. And then in the drop down, there will be a crisis relief fund that you can click on that and we'll be as generous as we possibly can. So we're looking forward to seeing money come into that as well to help with the rebuilding. And then also if you have tools or things that might be helpful for farm or for building or mechanic work, if you have things that might be helpful that you're not using, you want to donate those, you can bring those into Gracegate Community Church at 1368 South Highway 97 in Redmond. And we'll have a couple of totes in the lobby that you can drop those off. And then also you can drop off gift cards to Wilco, Coastal, Lowe's, Home Depot, help us kind of replenish some of the tools that were lost as well. I know that even just talking to them in the initial phase, like they had to get the hot wire back up for all the cows and the power was in that shop. And so they no longer had access to that. So they had to run down to the store and buy a bunch of extension cords to run power to the house to turn on the hot wire. So all the things you can think of and maybe not even think of. I know that even in the process, Joy mentioned that they're not just, it's not off the top of the head. They know everything that they lost right off the bat. I mean, just like you and I might instinctively go to a garage or shop or shed to grab tools that we're just used to using. A lot of the stuff they're going to realize they don't have once they actually need it sometime in the weeks and months to come. So looking forward to being a part of this and really grateful for all of you who are going to jump in and be a part of it. And as always, if you have a need or something going on, we'd love to hear from you. You can email admin at Gracegate Community Church. You can email me, Cody, at Gracegate Community Church, and try to see if there's any way that we can help. But we want to be supportive. We want to be helpful. in the strange times that we're in and the crises that we find ourselves. So I hope you're well, I hope you're healthy, I hope you feel connected, I hope you feel loved, I hope you're feeling the presence of God. And if there's any of those things that we can help with, don't hesitate to reach out. So God bless you and all those around you as you finish this day. And check out the comments below, and we'll have opportunities to give, help, serve in whatever way you can with the Fidance Family Farm. So thank you for joining us today, and we look forward to any comments and questions that come in. And we look forward to whatever you might drop off or come and be a part of helping out. So thank you for joining us today, and thank you for caring about this family that cares so much for us and that we care so much for as well. So thank you, and we'll talk to you soon.